0.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the first episode of a new show, new series of videos I'm doing called Marvel Us Interviews. And we're fortunate enough to be joined today by a fixture in the 1/6 scale community. It's a brother that spreads a lot of knowledge, has taught me a lot just through watching his live streams, and a positive person, man. It's Lael Rockwell. So let's go ahead and bring him in. And Lael, welcome to the channel, bro.
Thanks for having me, man. Glad to be here,
Yeah.
brother.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So I got kind of a little list of bullet points, stuff that we can talk through. But first, if you just want to go through and just talk about your channel and some of the live streams you do, some of the things you cover, because I know you got comic book talk, you talk about that, Star Wars, Marvel. So just give us the rundown of where they can find you.
Yeah, man. They can find me definitely, as you said, the 1/6 Scale Man YouTube channel. Today we just wrapped up on Collectors Lounge International. That's our Sunday thing, our Sunday show around 12 p.m. every Sunday.
Right.
So get a chance to actually chat with like international collectors every Sunday. From Europe, to Australia, everywhere. You know what I mean? It's just basically a international thing, international show where we actually get a chance to kind of like shed light on collectors from different parts, different regions, and just kind of step into their world. So that's pretty much what we do every Sunday. Mondays is of course comic book talk with friends, where we highlight the latest in comics, as far as whether it's comic collecting, Disney Plus series through films. So we probably we try to give as much knowledge and insight on what goes on in that world. So that's 9:15 every Monday. Same what Wednesday, we call it. I labeled it Say What Wednesday, where we actually just sit back and talk about everything in the collecting community, from 1/6 scale collecting, statues, quarter scales, everything. So you can tune in for that 9:15 on Thursdays. On Wednesdays, Thursdays. This Thursday we will actually we're bringing back Uncivilized Scoundrels, which is all Star Wars talk, in preparation for Andor, Mandalorian, Skeleton Crew, The Acolyte. We're just kind of like just giving insight on that, the history of this is all coming. So we want to get you prepped and ready for that. Then we have Figure Flex Friday, of course. Figure Flex Friday, we actually get together. It's basically geared towards the fans. It's for all the fans, everybody who's tuned in for the show. We get a chance to look at your collection. You flex with your figures. Give us your vision, your artistry. So I love that show. And yeah, that's pretty much all the shows that we're doing tonight or today around 5:30. I'm going to be doing a content creator appreciation show where just to look back, a bit of appreciation for like a lot of collectors and everybody who's been doing it for the long yard and putting in effortless work, making sure that they're bringing great content, and just make sure that they are recognized and highlighted. We need more of that, instead of all the divisive conversations that actually happen without the community, throughout the community. I just figured we need to do something. We need to break away from all that. So that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing too with with Figure Flex Friday, I'm always in there as much as I can be, but it doesn't just have to be 1/6 scale collectibles. You can bring in Marvel Legends, and because on my channel, just so you know, I bring in I do content. I actually started doing content with Marvel Legends, Black Series, McFarlane, all of that stuff. So a lot of my subscribers are actually 1/12 scale collectors.
Yeah.
Starting in, I think it was around January, the beginning of January, I kind of sold my stuff, started collecting Hot Toys. So most of my content now is Hot Toys, 1/6 scale related. So definitely people can check out Figure Flex Friday. I think that's something for everybody. That's one of the things I like about, the live streams that you do. Even if you're not a collector of Hot Toys, there's still something there for everybody.
Everybody. It's not just limited to Hot Toys figures. 1/12 scale, 1/10 scale, if it's statues, everything, it's just mainly highlighting your collection, your interpretation, and what's comfortable for you. So yeah, I love it, man.
Yeah, that's what's up. So before we dive into some of these other questions, I just want to talk a little bit. It's 9/11, so of course, remembering all those that we lost. That's a date that I think all of
Yeah,
us will
definitely.
always remember where we were at. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
one of
definitely.
those things, man. But it's also the kickoff of the NFL season, the first
Hmm.
Sunday, anyways. And I
Hmm.
got my Eagles jersey on. Got to
Yeah,
represent. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
We're up 24-14 right now, so
that's good. That's
hopefully we
good.
can hold on to that lead. But let's just get into some of the questions I have here. As far as engaging with the community, with all the live streams that you do, you're probably the hardest working man in the business of live streaming. I don't know
Hmm.
how you do it. I
Me neither.
I did like one live stream recently, and I don't know I could do that many shows, but
Yeah,
my
yeah.
hats off to you. But what do you get, out of engaging with the community as much as you do, because obviously you enjoy it, you're passionate about it, but what motivates you to
I
engage with the
think
community?
that's the thing, bro. It's more of an engagement for me because, like I said, it's a sharing or us being able to share ideas.
Right.
And it's not a it's a shared space. It's not often that we actually get a chance to really enjoy each other's company and talk about the things that we love. Especially if people have opinions, thoughts, questions about, especially for new collectors.
Right.
We want to give you a chance to kind of have that space.
Yeah.
Where you don't feel excluded, like you're included. You know what I mean? And that inclusivity is, what I really push for. And I want to keep it a very diverse channel, whereas all walks of life, it doesn't matter who you are, whether it's male, female, whatever denomination, different, nationality, stuff like that. I try to create that space where you can come in and you can feel comfortable. You know what I mean? And I like having that. I like that, whereas we're able to actually come in and have a discussion, meet new people, network. I think that's what it's all about. I do videos, but my videos are more geared towards posing, I mean, because I do have take your position, when it comes to posing and, just the sheer artistry of the figures itself. But not when I'm especially when it comes to the news and it comes to everything. I think I'd rather do it as an actual live stream because I'm connecting to everybody, especially if they have questions. So it's just, for me, it just feels better. You know what I mean? It's a better
Yeah.
approach. So that's what I like. But yeah, I mean, as again, bro, like I said, I mean, I love meeting people, what I mean, such as
Right.
yourself and everybody else, getting, just being able to connect. And the community is, believe it or not, I mean, we look at ourselves and we're like, it's a lot of people who collect and stuff like that, but the community is still small. You know what I mean? It's not as big. You know what I mean? So it's, my task, my objective, my plan, game plan, in game is to make this bigger than what it really is. You know what I mean? There's a lot of us out there. There's a lot of collectors out there. The blurred community is huge as well. There's a lot of black collectors out there that people don't really recognize and understand. We are out here. You know what I mean? So, and we enjoy what we do. So,
Yeah.
I want to bring that to the forefront and also create a safe space where people can feel comfortable doing it without having to worry about, how they're viewed, how they're perceived. There's no judgment. You know what I mean? I have a no judgment rule when it comes to my channel, and I want to kind of push that.
Right. Understandable. Yep. You
Mhm.
do a good job of it too. So
Yeah, appreciate that.
so my second question, you mentioned Toya a little bit earlier, you having to move upstairs, but how important
Yeah,
is it to have a spouse that, kind of supports what you do? Because obviously she's a huge support and,
yeah, yeah,
let you spend the time doing what you do. So how important is that to
yeah.
you?
Well, it's important because what a lot of people have to understand is that Toya was the one who started this whole thing for me. She started that journey for me.
Okay.
Because she knew what I was into. I was a collector. When we met, I was unscripted. I let her know who I was. I welcomed her into my world, and she embraced it. You know what I mean? And she loves it, and she knows how passionate I am about it. So she was like, "Well, if this is something that you love, then I started doing reviews at first. Reviews were I was putting them out there, just doing a couple of them, and it wasn't really taken off the way I wanted it. But again, I was just doing it mainly for the love. Then I got invited to Paradox Nerd over there with PJ and everybody else. And he wanted me to be on the show. So we had a chance to, I had a chance to talk to him. and everybody else. That's how I met, like, Optical 20, Wolf Foxification, stuff like that.
Right.
And then that's when I knew that it was something that I can do. But still wasn't, I didn't think that I could, I was ready for it yet. Until it was like, yes, you're ready. You were born for it. This is what you were supposed to do. So, with her push, her belief, and complete dedication to making sure that I stayed committed to it, is, how I kind of got involved. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's exciting. It's definitely exciting. And I've hit the ground running since, man. And the thing is, it's like I said, I mean, with her, I've had her on the show a few times. As a matter of fact, she has her own show coming up she's working on right now.
Oh, okay.
She just purchased her first Hot Toys figure, so she actually got the armor because she loves the armor. So she's going to be unboxing that on Uncivilized Scoundrels this Thursday. So I like to get on that. Yeah. So yeah, it's exciting times, man. Like it's going to be an exciting show. But yeah, like, I mean, it's very important because then it to you is like, it makes you feel like, okay, then I'm on to something. If she's supporting me and she has that belief, then obviously I'm doing something good. You know what I mean? And if she welcomes it and she understands what it takes to get to this point, then yeah, you know what I mean? That's just the icing on the cake. And that support system, having that support system is always important because then you're not as stressed. It's like, you can stress about the inner workings and everything that you're doing behind the scenes, inviting people on your show and, making sure that you have content and you're covering everything. That's just one aspect of it. But yeah, it's it has its upsides, to everything too. So, it's been fun. It's been fun so far.
Cool. Yeah. I can relate because my fiance is real supportive. She's actually part of the reason I reached out to you because she's always like, why don't you get on one of these live streams with them or do, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. And I'm like,
there you go, bro. And so here's the thing. This is what you understand though. So my rule is that whenever I basically meet somebody and they interview me and if I'm on this show and I see that this is what they do, then you don't have a choice.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't have a choice. Right. So definitely you're going to get on the show. So you know what I mean? No, it's just like if you ask anybody who's ever been on the show, I bully them. I say like, yo, okay, so
I've seen it.
You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, I'm gonna have you on the show, such and such. They be like, what? I'm like, yeah, you're gonna be on the show. Like, for real? I'm like, yeah, like you're on the show. I'm not. It's not like I'm just gonna be timid and be like, hey, would you? No, you're right. So yeah, like so that's the thing. And the thing is, just like, bro, like, it's me. There's brother cousins. We need more like us.
Yeah. Definitely.
We need more of us, bro. More of us that are out there that enjoy what we do and enjoy the collecting community. We love these things. We grew up with these things. You know what I mean? So people need to understand it. This collecting community is extremely diverse.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's important. So to see, people such as yourself, I'm like, I'm more excited. I'm like, okay, yeah, let's go. Let's do this.
Right. Yeah, definitely. And that kind of leads into the next topic, actually, in terms of diversity. Yeah. And, I know you've spoken a lot about it. I saw your interview with NArts where you asked them, about it and kind of their non-response really was kind of more like, well, we can maybe make some athletes or something. But they I think over time, once they start engaging with the American market more, maybe we'll see that stuff. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is, but with Hot Toys, we're starting to see, we got the Reva, we got Valkyrie, so we're starting to see it. And at first I was kind of like, okay, maybe Hot Toys they got it. You know what I mean? But then I started looking at D23. We'll talk about that in a second. But some of the content that's upcoming, they're not going to have any choice but to put out diverse figures because some of the shows that we're seeing, Secret Invasion, you got Samuel L. Jackson, Echo, you got, the list just goes on and on.
Echo, you got, of course, Captain America, New World Order, Wakanda Forever. Exactly. You know what I mean? There's diversity and pretty much, we got diversity even, in the upcoming Thunderbolts film, with Ghost. You know what I mean? There's so much real richness in this diverse culture. You don't have a choice. So, If they want to make money, and Disney's into making money, and
Right.
they sell their merchandise, so they're going to definitely put their elbows on that back and be like, "Hey, yo, you
Yeah.
know, we need you to make these particular characters because we need." And it's the thing is, it's like once it becomes more accepting when people welcome it in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you start showing these figures, if you start giving people these figures, they'll collect.
Mm-hmm.
There's people out there that will buy these figures. People that want the Dormalaze, people who want Io, who want Okoye, who want M'Baku.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People out there who actually want these figures and will collect them if you put them out there.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? People are waiting right now for that Miss Marvel Kamala Khan. You know what I mean?
Oh,
We
yeah,
haven't
definitely.
figure yet. So I'm pretty sure that's going to come.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, I think very much so, bro. Like diversity is extremely important, and I'm never biting my tongue on it. And believe it or not, there's a lot of people, even content creators, that don't like to talk about it. But I'm like, well, I
Right.
guess I have to be that person. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I have to be that person, and you'll have to accept it whether you like it or not. So
Yeah, somebody has to stand up and finally start having that conversation, because
yeah,
a lot of things go kind of unsaid, and then there's kind
yeah,
of like dog whistling, and just smaller things like we saw with Reva when
yeah, bro.
when she was announced. My whole thing with that is, I think the conversation about how she was written, all that type of stuff. Okay, fine, but we know the underlying thing there was what the actress, Moses Ingram, endured with people attacking her based upon race. And
Yeah,
so I found it interesting in some of the like live streams and different shows I've been watching, where people tended to go kind of extra hard on
extra,
her, where it's like
extra.
if it was another Captain America or some other figure that wasn't of color, I don't feel like they would have went the extra mile. You know what I mean? To keep going as hard as they are trying to down that figure. It's
There
crazy.
wouldn't have. There wouldn't have. And that was my point. It's the
Yeah.
simple fact that people used that as an excuse. Oh,
Yeah.
well, she was written poorly, or you know what I mean? I didn't like her portrayal. And even on one, on lines, it was even saying that she didn't sound like Star Wars. And I'm like, what?
What does that mean? Like,
What does that mean? What does Star Wars sound like?
right.
Like when you say that, what does Star Wars sound like to
Yeah.
you?
Right.
Is it because so is it her inflection? You're trying to say that because she's black and she sounds like a black woman
Right.
that she didn't belong? Like, yeah, that wow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
again,
People can say a lot by not saying certain things. You know what I mean? So
exactly,
it's crazy.
exactly, bro. Exactly.
It's
That's
crazy.
the
But
thing. So you say so much, and the little that you say, and people will tell you who they are.
oh
They
yeah.
will tell you who they are in the very beginning. You just listen to everything that they say, and you know what they're all about. You just got
Hmm.
to read between the line. The undertones are always there. So they're not hiding who they are.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you
Right.
listen, you'll know.
Yeah.
It
You can see
depends
it.
on how you choose to approach it and address it. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I'm in your face about it. I'll let you know. You
Yeah.
know what I
You
mean?
have
That's
to
what I
be.
stand for and what I don't. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. And if I lose followers, then I lose followers. But
Right.
I'm going to stand up for what I believe in. You understand?
Yeah, yeah. Like I was watching one of the, I don't know if it was your live stream or somebody was one that you were on. I think where someone made the comment that she doesn't belong in Star Wars, and I'm like,
Will. It
what?
was Will's comment. Yeah, it was last week. Last week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm like, wow, that's kind of that's not to go too deep into it or whatever, but it was something that struck me as like, wow, man, you gotta think about what you say. I think because even though
What you say
inclusivity
and how
isn't
you say it.
necessary.
You know?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, you have to watch what you say, how you say it. But that was something I was like, man, that's where we're at with it. But I don't want to dwell on that stuff too much, because for a lot of us, this is an escape, and
Yep.
so we look at it to where we can look at these figures, watch the shows or whatever, without having to worry about real world politics and all of that.
Yep. Yep.
But sometimes those lines blur. But it is what it is. But let me move into the next question I have here for you. I think you touched on it a little bit before, but advice for new collectors in the 1/6 scale realm, because it's completely different than collecting 1/12. And I found that
Mhm.
out,
Yeah.
the hard way. I learned, made some mistakes, learned some
Yeah.
things. But what advice do you have for people that are looking to get into collecting Hot Toys or 1/6 scale?
1/6 scale it's again true scale 1/6 scale art pieces head sculpts we know are movie accurate as close as possible. Um, with 1/6 scale collecting, and especially if you're a brand new collector, the one thing I'll tell you right off the bat is patience. You got to have patience. This isn't
Yep.
like a Black Series or a Mezco figure that can drop within a couple of months.
Right.
This is something that you may have to wait 1 or 2 years to get. You know what I mean? When it goes, especially when it goes into production. So your pre-order is your order into getting a top-notch figure customized, not specifically for you, but into it's customization towards the actual character, the likeness of the character. But at the same time, again, just be patient, number one. Number two, don't fall for the hype. And what I mean by that is people will, people can sell you anything.
Yeah.
But if they're not going to sell you something that they believe in, then again, I would question that, because I want you to be completely honest with me. If you don't think that the figure is well enough, especially once you get it in hand, if you don't think that that figure is worth it, if you don't think it's something that you love, don't act as though you do.
Right.
Because people will read those things. And sometimes, like I said, as content creators, we have to be careful with what we say, how we say it. If there's a figure that's out there that, I don't necessarily want, I'm not going to get it. I'm not going to fall for the hype just because everybody else wants it or has it. You know what I mean? You have to, it has to be a character or a figure that you connect to. If you can connect, if it connects with you, if it's part of, if there's a story that needs to be told. I mean, we can also, and it's not, taken away from the simple fact that you just want to have something that's cool, because you can.
Right.
Don't just get something, just because everyone says you should, or everybody else is getting it. Get it because you might have either a connection with it, or if it's something that you really, really want. You know what I mean? If it's not something that you want, don't do it. I mean, because chances are, that piece, you'll get it in, you'll probably like it for a minute. It's going to sit there for a while, occupy space that you probably don't even have.
Right.
And you know what I mean? You're going to want to get rid of it. You know what I mean? So in the market right now for 6 scale collecting is rough, because we're seeing a lot of reissues. You know what I mean? There's been about a lot of delays. There's exclusivity pieces, stuff like that. Some things that you might think that's exclusive to you really isn't.
You're right.
You know what I mean? So there's a lot that goes into this. And this community is really, when it comes to 1/6 scale collecting, you definitely have to be on your toes. But I would say first and foremost, just enjoy it. Enjoy the ride, because you are getting some incredible pieces. You're getting something that is fully articulated. You can create really incredible masterpieces. Just be careful. Definitely be careful, because some of these pieces are really, really fragile.
Yeah.
Flimsy plastic pieces. But yeah, I mean, just enjoy it, but just don't fall for the hype. We live in the realm right now where you don't have to pre-order. You really, really don't.
Right.
Because all that figure is going to be available. So even if they tell you it's not, it will be. So don't just act like, don't just jump to pre-order. If you do, and if you absolutely have to do it, make sure it's a figure that, again, that you want, that you love, that you anticipate, and just leave it at that. You know what I mean? I wouldn't go outside of that and try to do anything else.
Yeah, no, it makes sense, because, in 1/12 scale, in that community, it's more about getting things first. And so, like, figure drops, a Marvel Legend or whatever, people are trying to get it first. And in this 1/6 scale, it's not really about that, unless you're like a huge YouTuber who relies on getting the figure first to be able to generate content, which, I'm not there. So, you know what I'm saying? I can wait, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So definitely good advice. The other thing I do is keep a spreadsheet, and also keep track of what's slated to come out, so that you kind of know kind of a time range of when it may drop or in what order. But Hot Toys throws curveballs and pushes stuff back, and all the rest of it. So
yeah,
just have to pay attention, really.
Yeah, they do. They do. They definitely do that, bro. There's always a pushback. And that's the thing. And that's why I say be patient, because, you might see a release date. Chances are chances are either, I mean, more than likely, there's only a few occasions where a figure's actually gotten pushed up and
Right.
made available before its actual release date.
Hmm.
But in most cases, like even what we're experiencing right now with the Sam Wilson cap, that's been
Right.
delayed. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Ahsoka has been delayed. Bo-Katan has
Yep.
been delayed. You know what I mean? Chances are we won't see any of those figures until first quarter of next year. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So it's a
Yeah.
possibility. But that's just the way you have to look at it and be like, okay, yeah, I'm used to it. Don't
Hmm.
get upset, because it's, if you're, especially if you're a new collector, like I said, you just got to really exercise on the side of patience, and just understanding that like things do happen, especially when it comes to production. We are still in the midst of a pandemic, maybe not as rough as it was in the very beginning, but it's still
Right.
there. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, definitely.
just side on the err on the side of patience, and just being aware that these things happen. So yeah, that's what I was saying.
I think it's important too to kind of know the different places you can go to purchase figures from. We all know
Yeah.
Justin's collection is probably the largest YouTuber
Hmm.
in this space, but
Yeah.
because he works with Toys Wonderland, he mentions Toys Wonderland. That's fine, whatever. But for somebody who's new to collecting, if they see that and they just think Toys Wonderland is where you go to get stuff, and you have to pay these prices and the shipping and all that stuff, there's other options. You can
Yeah.
wait
Yeah.
for it to hit Sideshow, wait for it to
Yeah.
hit eBay. It's
Yeah.
just other alternatives. So I think that's important for people to really
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, it's not something that you have to basically rush in, because you have, I mean, look, Toys Wonderland's out there. You also have Giant Toys. You have some of your mom and pop shops. You have
Hmm.
10 Cent.
Right.
You have Pop Culture, or
Yeah.
Pop Collectibles. I'm sorry.
Right.
So Toy Buying Agent. You have them. You have so many different ones just over in American or North American market. We deal with Sideshow, but then you
Right.
also have like your mom and pop shops. Like for me, there's Ray, which Ray is head of Underground Figures. So I get a lot of my stuff from him. You have Collector Zone with Marcos and everybody over there. So there's different places and ways to get your hand on figures. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
you don't, you know, Toys Wonderland. I mean, again, I mean, it's an opportunity to get figures first and foremost before everybody does over here. But you got to keep in mind though, shipping charges are expensive,
Oh yeah.
extremely expensive. So
Definitely.
you got to be careful about
Definitely.
that.
Yeah. And what was I about? Oh yeah. So I get a lot of my figures. I started getting a lot on eBay actually.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
these are from reputable sellers, who are
yeah.
running businesses. And what's funny though is that they get their stuff from Sideshow as being the distributor, but a lot of times they offer free shipping, whereas Sideshow is going to charge you more just to double box
Mhm.
your figure. And it's like, man, what are you doing? But
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Sideshow does have the reward points and discounts and stuff like that, so maybe it balances out in the long run. But
yeah, yeah.
just knowing the different options that are out there.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. I mean, they have rewards points. And then on top of that, like I said, if it comes to like replacement parts or if your figure's defective, the customer service is definitely on point.
yeah,
And they'll make sure that you're satisfied. So, I mean, that right there it comes with the proper insurance for me, uh, as opposed to like Toys Wonderland, where if I'm, you run the risk, especially overseas market. If you get a defective figure, then you got to send it back over there and then wait and see what happens at that point. How fast the turnaround is going to be. So, that right there in itself can create an issue. So you just got to be aware.
yeah. And I didn't have this on the agenda, but since we're talking about Toys Wonderland, let's go there for
Okay.
just for a second, not to bash them or anything like that,
Yeah. Hell.
but a lot of times I get people asking, because I did a video, hot toys under $200, and you know well that they do these sales where you can get figures cheap.
Yeah.
And at times, it really does make sense to go through them.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
see a lot of people asking, like, "Well, what's the bad thing about Toys Wonderland? Why are they being bashed so much?" And just in my experience, the real issue that I had with them is in terms of shipping. If I pay for DHL and it tells
Yeah.
me 3 to 5 days, I'm
And I'm getting
expecting
it
it
10
to be
days
here in 3 to
afterwards.
5
Yeah.
days.
Yeah.
And that's really not what it is. They may wait a week before they get it to DHL, and then
Yeah.
it's 3 to 5 days. So now I'm 2 weeks out, and it's like, what did I pay for? You know
Exactly.
what I mean?
Why am I
And
paying this extra money for shipping that doesn't take place the way you said
right,
it's supposed to? And that's been the biggest problem with them. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And I've talked to them plenty of times about it because it says 3 to 5, but then when
right,
I text you, you said, well, it does say that it can take up to 10 days for prep, and then you'll get it. No, then that's not honoring the
right,
3 to 5, or 3 to 7 or 5 to 7 business days. You're not
right,
honoring that.
yeah.
So why am I paying you this much money for a service that you're not adhering to?
Exactly. And then they started doing the thing where they give you a tracking number pretty much immediately.
Yeah,
It's like, come on, man, that's bad faith right there, because it's
yeah,
meant to make you think that something's happening when it's
yeah.
really nothing's happening. You're just given a
Mhm.
tracking number, but you're still going to end up waiting. And granted, I know I don't know how many people work with them. I know it was started
Yeah,
by one person, and they probably have growing pains and stuff like that. But I actually come from a customer service background. I was a
yeah,
senior manager of IT, ran 2 different call centers, 2 different states, stuff like
yeah,
that. So
yeah,
I'm real big on customer service.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
the main thing is being honest with the people that are buying, because if you
Full
just tell
transparent.
them, yeah,
Yeah,
if you tell me it's going to take 10 days to get it, then cool. I know what to expect. But, if you're telling me something
yeah,
is not going to happen, then I have a problem, so
yeah.
hopefully, they make some improvements. I think they have definitely gotten the feedback.
Mm.
But, it's like I said, I don't bash them or tell people not to go through them or whatever. You get your stuff where you want to get it. You know what I mean? But just be aware. I think that
You
would be
have
the
to.
biggest thing I would say is
Yeah,
that's what before you pay that money for DHL, because it's not cheap going through them. So
you have to definitely be aware because the thing is, and that's what they need to do. Now, as far as deals, they have some amazing deals. Like that,
yeah,
I've been telling people, I was talking to them on the channel about it today. Like that Bucky Barnes, that from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I
yep,
got that for like $50 shipped. You know what I mean? And
man,
that's because I had points that basically use, their point system and their voucher system is pretty decent.
yeah,
Also, if you want to actually a 12-month payment plan to pay off
hmm,
the figure, that's pretty good. You can actually go through partial, pay it that way,
right,
and you're good. But the deals, if I see a deal through them, like I'm not pre-ordering through them anymore.
yeah,
I'm not going on the payment plan. I'm not, but if I see a figure that's available at a cheaper rate, then I'll buy it.
right,
You know what I mean? And
yeah,
and for me, all I was paying for is shipping. You
right,
know what I mean? So I just got to wait till the figure's delivered. You know what I mean? At that point. But the only thing is, it's even though it's that cheap, it's a you might as well say it's a pre-order because the figure's not available yet.
yeah,
Like,
true,
it's only available once they get it in, then that's when they'll send it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
So I was on, I think it was Justin's live stream one time. I don't know, you may or may not remember this, but I asked him the question in the super chat. I said, if you had to pick one figure to represent what Hot Toys is, what would you pick?"
Mhm.
And I'm sitting there waiting anxiously. I'm like, man, he's about to pull out like a safe and pull out this figure that's amazing that I've never seen. And he was like, probably the Pattinson Batman. And it was like, it's like, bro, they just announced that like 2 days
Yeah,
ago.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Like,
yeah,
that's what you're giving me, but it was cool. But you actually answered on that too, and it was the Jen Urso.
yeah.
And that's the
Hell
reason why I actually picked up my Jen Urso, was because of
yeah,
your recommendation, really. But
bro. I
aside
love
from
that.
Jen, and I'll let you gush over Jen for a minute, but
Nah, I mean, the thing is, bro, because Rogue One is unapologetically like one of my top 3 films, Star Wars
mine
films of
too.
all.
Yep, definitely.
Like that film was so nicely done, and it rivals those. I mean, literally rivals those films. It feels like you're in that
Yep.
world. You know what I mean? So I can put that film on. I've literally watched it over 100 times.
Yeah.
Like literally, that's how many times I've watched it because I love that film. I loved her
Yep.
portrayal. If anything, I was thinking that we should get a prequel about her life, her
Jen
story,
Urso. Yep,
because Jen
definitely.
Erso's story is, again, you know what I mean? If there's a lot into it, I would love to see something like that. And I love the character. I
Man.
think she performed it well. And
Yep.
it's an amazing figure, bro. Like
Yeah,
it
it
is an
is.
amazing figure. Like the accessories, everything it comes with, it is amazing. That's why I love that figure so much. It is my grail piece in my collection.
Yep.
You know, my number one figure that I actually have, with everything else that I have, that's my number one.
Yeah.
But you know, to aside from that though, if I wanted to actually pick another figure that I would say is that's what I mean, there's so many, bro, because even if you have, like, for instance, Count Dooku, that head sculpt is on point. That
Yeah.
is Hot Toys at their finest. If you get like the Hella figure, that head sculpt,
Right.
that is Hot Toys at their finest. You know what I mean? You know, all the way down to like the Shuri head sculpt with the micro braids, that is Hot Toys at their
Still
finest.
need to get her.
You know what I mean? Like, yo, it is an amazing piece. You know, even if you go with some of their latest slates, that, you know, Into the Spider-Verse Miles, bro,
Oh, yeah.
that figure,
I got him back there. Yeah.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
Bro, that is my top one. That's my number one figure of this year.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Again, it is so, I mean, when people say toyetic, it is extremely toyetic. You can, you know, you can,
to be. Yeah.
exactly, so many, you know, you can pull off so many different poses. There's so many different dimensions. You know, it was one of the, and I tell people all the time, it's the first figure where the background I actually use.
Right.
It fits. You know what I mean? So I couldn't imagine not being able. I like right now. I'm trying to figure out a way, because I have both him and Gwen posed. I'm trying to figure out why I can fuse both the backgrounds together so it can look good aesthetically.
Right.
But just that amazing. You know what I mean? So definitely love that. And then like some of what we see coming, you know, with Reva, with Valkyrie, you know, those particular, with the Days of Future Past Wolverine. Like when we see those things, like that is Hot Toys at their finest. And that's when you have a belief in them. So when people count them out, I'm like, yo, NART's only been around, you know, briefly for a few months.
Right. No releases yet.
Exactly. And they're only releasing a small quantity of actual figures right now that's on their slate. And on top of that, you're not really showing me a lot of diversity. So I'm already right there checked out. Right. I'm only getting that Joker because I want it. You know what I mean? I've always wanted. I missed out on the DX.
Me too.
And I want to have that version. So I'm happy to have that. But other than that, yeah, you know, Hot Toys. And again, it's a redemption story, because I think that for them, they've earned my trust again slightly with that Reva, with that Valkyrie, and then on top of that, knowing that we have Wakanda Forever coming in November, I'm like, yeah, you've earned my trust, because now I know what you can do and what you will do. So I'm definitely excited about the future with them.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what a Riri figure looks like.
Yeah,
you know, based on the trailer, that outfit she had on, if they do that, I'm like, oh, she need a new body.
Exactly.
Come up with a new body. So
So excited about it, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming, man, on the horizon for sure. D23, we talk about that a little bit, and kind of the state of Star Wars, because Rogue One, I really kind of look at that film as the blueprint that they should have followed for everything that went forward. I mean, the sequels, whether you love it or hate it or whatever, Rogue One really captured Star Wars and what I think it should look like in present day. But what do you think? Because we saw, you know, Andor, with the Mandalorian trailer was insane. Can't wait for that to come back. But what do you think the state of Star Wars is right now in terms of some of the projects that are upcoming? Is it going to get better?
Here's the thing, bro, because again, we know with everything that happened, or everything that we see so far with Mando, it was the first time that it was a test market for the volume. They've used it. They were successful with it for that particular show. They were successful because they were meant to be in that world they can create. I mean, it was good. It wasn't something that we actually seen before. So it fits and it bodes well. Whereas we know everything that we need to know about Tatooine. So using the volume to recreate Tatooine, I don't think was good, because the thing is, it's vast lands. There's so many different things going on Tatooine that the volume's not going to be able to cover the scope of everything. You know, so with ObiWan, I think you need more, you know, practical locations. You know, you need to actually, you know, something like that was needed. Book of Boba, same thing.
Yeah.
You know, you can't use the volume for everything. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think that they're relying on that. That's just like, you know, with the prequels, George Lucas, you know, relied too heavily on CGI and less on the narrative. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I
Yep.
think that you don't want to carry that same thing on with these films. And I think that they just have to be patient, bro. Like, be patient and stop trying to push out stories that aren't as, you know, well written.
Yeah.
You need something whereas, you know, that you, especially character development, we need that. And I, you know, again, I
Exactly.
wasn't a super duper fan of Obi-Wan, but I appreciated what Moses Ingram brought to the table when it came to that character, because all she could do was what was given to her. You feel me?
Right. Yep.
So, you know, my hopes is that we get more well fleshed out stories, you know, get back to the lore of Star Wars and what it meant and the
Yeah.
feeling of it. Because, like you said, Rogue One was what it felt like to be in the Star Wars universe, and it was well done, well received.
Yeah.
So we need to get back to that. Not something that you want to modernize. It's not. It won't. It wouldn't make sense. You know, it really,
Mhm.
really doesn't make sense. So they just need to get back to like the feel, the aesthetics of Star Wars. You know what
Yeah.
it's all about, the storyline. We don't have to basically, because like the world is huge. We don't have to shrink it down by having another Star Wars. I mean, another Skywalker trilogy. We don't need.
Right.
We can move on from that, but just give us the feel of Star Wars. That's all we're asking for.
Yeah. And Obi-Wan, that was, you know, in watching the series and kind of reflecting back on it, I really felt like they let Moses Ingram down
Yeah, they did.
because that character of Reva, she could have been really interesting. I
Yeah,
think the problem is that we got a couple of seconds of her as a youngling or whatever in the temple, but you
yeah,
really don't connect with her. You don't have any true emotions tied into
yeah,
why she feels the way she feels. So if they would have had like maybe a series, not
yeah,
an Obi-Wan, where you build her up over time and understand her
yeah,
motivations and actually care about her and where she's at, you know, at that particular
yeah,
time, I think it would have made more sense. And
yeah.
I think the character would have been more, you know, well,
Believable.
more,
It'd be
yeah,
more
more
believable,
believable.
more. And that's the thing is, it's like we didn't see it well as fleshed out as it need to be. You
Yeah.
know, her being a youngling, you know, coming from that stage up into now an inquisitor. You know, her journey as to getting there. I mean, and the thing is, we can still see more of her. You know, we
Yeah.
can still see more of this character,
I
and I
think
hope
we
we
will.
do. I really
Yeah.
hope we do, because
Me
she's
too.
out there, and and we know she's there. Even flashbacks to her time, you know, as you know, becoming or being forced, because, like I said, inquisitors were tortured and reconditioned.
Right.
Uh, you know what I mean? So it would be nice to see something like that. I would love to see that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh, and I'm hoping we do. I'm really, really
Yeah.
hoping we do.
Hopefully so, because they left a lot of material that could have been explored. They left it on the table. So I think they need to go back and address some of that stuff for sure.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah,
Um,
definitely.
so that kind of covers Star Wars. So the state of the MCU, I was looking at some of the things that are coming out. And I think Disney Plus seems to be playing a large role in kind of what the MCU is. Like the first 10
Mhm.
years, it was movies. You know, it was all based on movies. But now with
Yeah,
the implementation of Disney Plus and some of the shows, they're able to tell stories more, probably maybe more like in a comic book format,
yeah,
where it's not
yeah.
just everything compressed into one movie. So I think that Disney Plus is going to play a big part. But where do you see the future of the MCU? Do you think it can be as successful as the first 10 years?
I think it will be. I think you know, with the first 10 years, we got over almost 30 films.
Yeah.
Uh, and I think it will be. And here's the thing is, like, when people talk about like just the, you know, the current state, you know, of the MCU, like it's slow and, you know, it's not really, it's not as cohesive. You got to keep in mind that in the very beginning, the first couple of phases, a lot of those films didn't take off. Like a lot of those
Hmm.
films were subjective as well. I think
Yep.
that right now they realize that, you know, they realize that they have to kind of connect the universe so we have a firm understanding. And I trust Kevin Feige to you know, to pull that through. You know, not using Thor: Love and Thunder as a blueprint. I
Right.
have to take that
Agreed.
off the table. I have to take that off the table because that
Yeah.
was blasphemy, in my opinion. And I hated the direction of it. And I'm kind of skeptical about Taika Waititi coming into the Star Wars universe and directing a film. I'm afraid for it. You
Yeah.
know,
I don't blame you.
I mean, so I don't know how that's going to be, but we just have to sit back and watch and wait and see, what transpires from there. But yeah, I again, I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting to see what happens, what we get. But I have full
Hmm.
faith in Kevin Feige, bro, because like I said, he's steered this ship so many times. And on top of that, we know he's working on his own Star Wars film. So I can't wait for that.
Right.
I can't wait till we get some information on that. That's going to be spectacular. But yeah, I think again, bro, I'm a Marvel fan, bro. I'm a comic book fan. I mean, we all are. I'm a
Yep.
comic book
Right.
fan. I'm a fan of the lore, so I definitely think that it can get pulled through, and I think he will do that. We just have to, kind of wait and see how it pans out. But I think we're going to get some great content, man. We just got to be patient and just let
Yeah.
it play out. Just let it play out.
Yeah, that Secret Invasion trailer has me pretty hyped, man. I think
Yeah, bro. Yeah,
it's
man.
interesting though because all they really showed was Nick Fury
Yeah.
and Rhodey. You know what I mean? So I'm
Yeah,
wondering who
Nick
else is going
Fury,
to be
Brody. We saw Maria Hill. We saw,
right. Yep. True.
again, there's a lot to be. Again, like I think a lot. Even I question even Nick Fury. Are we even seeing a real Nick Fury? You know what I
Right.
mean? You
Might
don't
not
know
be.
with the Secret
Yeah.
Invasion. We don't even know if Rhodey is the person who he says he is.
Yeah.
Nobody knows. You know
True.
what I mean? And only a scroll can tell if that's a scroll. You know what I mean? So I guess
Yeah.
that's going to also be, Ben Mendelsohn's task to come in and really allow us to really see through his eyes who's who. So
Right.
yeah, I'm excited about it, bro. I'm definitely excited about that. I'm excited about the Thunderbolts. I can't wait for that movie.
Yep.
Yeah, what I mean, Werewolf by Night. I'm definitely excited about that. So yeah, I can't wait. I definitely can't wait, bro.
Yeah, Thunderbolt. So they're bringing back Taskmaster, and
Yeah,
one of the things I first thought about, I got the Taskmaster figure back there.
yeah,
Um, Underrated figure, man. A lot of people
very
need
much
to
so.
pick that up, and
Very much so.
I'm wondering with the Thunderbolts if they're going to do a 2.0 with the female body. What do you think?
It would make sense that they do that, bro. They have to because
Yeah.
the thing is, if you hear the pushback from everybody, we're definitely going to get a different suit. We're definitely going to get a different suit. We're going to get a different take on that character. They're going to make a
Right.
female version, and I think that they should. It's
Yeah.
only right. It's only
Right.
right
Yep.
because if you're going to put a female and an actress is coming back to play that role,
Yeah. I
you know
saw
what I
that.
mean?
Yep.
You know what I mean? So if she's coming back, accommodate her. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Don't give her like we already get it. It was a trope. It was a disguise. Now give
Right.
us the female version of her. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that's what I want
Yep.
to actually see. Like, let's go.
Yeah. I'm definitely interested in seeing how they like the stunt double, how they portray that, because in the film I think they intentionally made it look more masculine, more like a man, because
Yeah,
until the end you didn't know that it was actually a female.
yeah,
But
no idea.
in the show, I'm curious to see, are they going to slim her down some, make her look more feminine. Um, so excited to
Yeah,
see how that turns out. Then we got Wakanda Forever coming up,
yeah,
and the trailer I saw, that I was excited for it, man. And then you start seeing these people wanting to boycott the movie or whatever because Chadwick Boseman isn't in it, or they didn't recast. Rather, they didn't recast the Black Panther.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but I think we just have to wait and see what we get, before we can really make any judgments on that. But what do you think about Wakanda Forever? Something you looking forward to?
Oh hell yeah. Oh hell yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the thing is, if you're a comic fan, Shuri's journey when she stepped in as the Black Panther while T'Challa had been injured. He was injured by Victor Von Doom himself. So, you know what I mean? She doesn't hold the man on the entire time. So people got their panties in a bunch, man. You got to chill, like chill
Right.
out, wait. Yeah, what I mean, it's going to play out the way it's supposed to. You just have to give it time. But yeah, I'm definitely excited about it. I'm definitely excited to see Angela Bassett again, Okoye, Io, the Dormalaje, Namor now, Namora. Like, I'm just so happy to see everybody in this film. I can't wait for it. And I think Ryan Coogler is going to give us a masterpiece, bro. People just have to wait and watch it.
Yeah.
Watch, because we don't know what's going to happen. They're going to definitely give Chadwick the proper send off. But you never know what it's going to be. It could be multiple Panthers. You don't know. You know what I
Right.
mean? So you just have to wait and see.
Yeah, and that's where I'm kind of at with it. Is just people need to
Mhm.
chill, wait and see what actually happens. But
Yeah.
like, why would you boycott the movie? Like, it doesn't, they're hashtagging recast Black Panther, but it's like, dude, the movie's already made. So
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? It's
Yep.
not like they're gonna scrap it and go back and
Yep.
redo it. So
Yep.
that's kind of crazy. But then, we get Ironheart coming up, and a
Yeah.
character that a lot of people probably aren't familiar with, and I'm not
Mhm.
all that familiar with, is
Yeah.
the
Riri
Hood.
Williams.
Yeah, Riri Williams, but
Oh
also
yeah,
the
in the
Hood.
hood. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Hood. It's something that I'm looking forward to seeing
Yeah.
how that
Yeah.
plays out.
Yeah, basically, like I said, a character who basically once he gains the hood, he basically dabbles around in the mystic arts, like in just like the
Yep.
dark arts, but he actually also carries around two desert eagles. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So he has guns, he has weaponry, but he's a crime boss, and I'm so glad to see him recognized
Hmm.
in live action. So I can't wait for that. I definitely can't wait for that.
Yeah, because we need more villains that have that presence. We had
Yeah,
Thanos, we got Kang right now. We'll see how
yeah,
how his whole story plays out. But
yeah,
yeah, people like the Hood, because Marvel has so many characters they can pull from.
yeah.
That it's like that. There's definitely no shortage of characters. So like
And I'm glad they're
rehashing the
doing
same
that.
ones.
Yeah, I'm glad they're doing that.
Yeah.
And I sort of think when we get this, the Disney Plus is there to fill in the gaps. So it's
Right.
like, even when we have like our main titles, like even in comics, you had your main title, but then you also had your spinoffs
Hmm.
of that title. You know what I mean? To kind of tell the story once it comes to its end.
Right.
I think that strategically they're planning these characters in these films because they have a bigger role to play. So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
excited about it, bro.
Yeah, definitely. Then we got let's see, Loki season 2. That should be pretty good. Interested to
Yeah,
see where they pick up. I
yeah,
guess I don't know how it's going to tie into like Ant-Man and
yeah,
everything else, but
yeah, yeah. I'm
should be
definitely
should be
excited
good.
about that, man. Because and there were rumors that the rumor was that Henry Cavill can appear in that as Hyperion or King Hyperion. Don't know yet. We just have to wait and see. There's been no announcement, so all things right now are just speculation.
Yeah, is he coming back as Superman? I saw like some talk about that, but I don't
I
know
don't
if
know.
it's
I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know. Like there's talk, but there's no like concrete evidence to say that he is or isn't. So who knows?
Right, yeah. Hopefully he shows up in the MCU. I'm down for that. You saw some of the casting for X-Men.
Yeah.
What do you think about the Professor X, the person that's rumored to be picking up the mantle of Professor X? Have you heard that?
Are you talking about between Denzel and John Carlos
Yeah.
Esposito?
Hmm.
Well, again, like I kind of reserve it because it's like again, right now it's just hearsay, resident, and a rumor. But
Right.
if it was to come to pass, I would welcome it. I
Yeah.
mean, I definitely would welcome it because it's a totally different take. Um, and we know that the story was highly influential off of those struggles.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So again, I would definitely, well, as long as they tell it right. And people have to understand was like, well, you're wiping away like the legacy of Magneto being Jewish, where there were black Jews as well.
That's true. Yeah. That's definitely true. So we'll see how that plays out. The last one is that I was going to talk about is the Marvels. I really enjoyed the Ms. Marvel
Yeah.
series. It took me a minute to get into it. I guess after the first episode, it was like, okay, I see what they're doing here. But then it really developed pretty quickly, actually, into a
Hmm.
really good story.
Hmm.
So I think a lot of people, if they haven't watched that, they should probably go check it out.
Yeah.
But I'm actually looking forward to the movie. I want to
Yeah.
definitely see how that
Yeah.
comes together.
Yeah. And then we got a glimpse of Carol Danvers' new suit,
Hmm.
at the
Yep.
end of Miss Marvel. So
Yeah.
I'm definitely happy to see where that's going to go. Monica Mont Rambeau, depending on which route that they want to go, if they want to call her Spectrum or, I mean, who knows? But I can't wait to see that. Yeah, I'm definitely excited about it. I wish they would show us some footage, but we haven't gotten footage yet. So we'll probably get that later on. I mean,
Yeah.
they're still basically finishing up the film, but I'm happy about it, bro. I can't wait.
Yeah. Me too. Looking forward to a lot of the stuff that's coming out. In that, I got one last thing for you before I let you
Yeah,
go.
yeah,
DTOF building.
Yeah,
Now, I've heard you say on a few streams that you've actually got the science down to being able to put these things together in like 10 minutes.
10,
What
15 minutes.
what tips can you give me? Because it took me 10 minutes and I just got the parts out of the box in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
That took me
So,
10 minutes.
so here's the thing, bro. Like, I mean, once you've done it and you've done it so many times, like you get it down to a science because you know where everything goes. And it's labeled, it's right there to tell you. It tells
Right.
you how to put them together. But once you've done it, you get it down to a science. And this is just me putting it together myself because some
Yeah.
things is heavy.
Oh
But
yeah.
just putting it together myself, you know, being extremely careful. I know the parts, I know how I want to do it. I know how I want to line it with the actual lights, the LEDs.
Hmm.
Which, you know, I'm doing all the, you know, the preparation process for that is always there. So I would say, again, once you get it down, like the first couple of times, it's just easy.
Yeah.
It's just 1, 2, 3. It's just that
Right.
easy. Right now, we know that it's just like getting your hands on one. That's kind of tough because
Man.
detox are next to, like, seriously, within the collecting community, it's rough to find right now. Them things sell out quick, and
Yeah,
they
I
know
went
they
through
do.
that.
That's why they raise the price. So
Yep. Yeah, I actually went through that. Like in my area, I live in Virginia,
yeah.
so it went about, man, 2 or 3 months where they just weren't even available at the IKEA, and I
Mhm.
signed up to get notified when they came in stock. I got notified, and by the time I went in there, within a couple of minutes to try to purchase it for
It was
pickup,
gone.
wasn't
Yeah,
available.
yeah,
Then a couple of weeks later, they ended up getting like 70 or 80 of them in stock, so I was able to finally get one.
yeah.
But yeah, that was kind of crazy to me. I'm like, I don't know what's going on with detox, but yeah, raising the
Yeah,
price and
yeah.
hard to find, man. It's but Module cases are something that I looked at, but it's like I don't want to wait that time frame. It's too long. So
I did that, bro. And the thing is, I don't fall. I know a lot of people are talking about module cases. That's all you hear is like module cases.
right,
I'm not falling for that, bro, because I'm not
yeah,
waiting that long period of time. Number one, and
yeah,
I look at detox as it's a more intimate experience because the thing is, it's forcing you to, you know, you really have to be like, how I want to say it, like the ingenuity. It forces you to kind of like really think
yeah,
of how you want to do certain things. What are you trying to portray? What do you want to display in each section of your detox? Sometimes you don't have to add all the shelves. You know what I
right,
mean? You can do it a certain way, but the ingenuity is it just forces you to think. You have to be a thinking person with detox. But I just like how more intimate it is, how the lighting feature works with detox. I mean, that's
right,
going to be my first go.
yeah,
Uh, I don't, again, not to knock module cases, it's just not for me. And in the waiting period, you pay for it, it takes you an entire year to get it.
yeah. It's too long. I think they probably need to get some investors or something and
Mhm.
kind of ramp up production, and it might be a more feasible option for people.
Yeah,
But for me,
yeah,
yeah, I'm not paying that amount
yeah, no,
to wait that long. And I think it was in Posing with Peter, I think, did a video where he like did a DIY, showing how to build your own case that looks similar to a Magic case. You get the same effect from it.
yeah,
So that's cool. But look, man,
yeah.
we're approaching right at an hour, so I'm gonna go ahead and end it here.
Bro,
Thank you for joining, man. Hopefully I can have you back sometime,
anytime, bro,
and
anytime.
anytime you want me on the stream, just let me know. I'll
Yo,
try to get up there.
you let me know when you are free.
Okay.
You let me, we, you pick a show, you tell me when you're free. Of course, we got Wednesday, Say What normally is our big show.
Yeah.
We have in Collectors Lounge, definitely. I can
Hmm.
get you on, whatever show you want to get on, just let me know.
All right, that's what's up, man. Because I got a 4-year-old son, so I have to
Yeah,
schedule around him. You know what I
you
mean?
already know, bro. I already
so
know.
that
My
so that's
youngest are
what it
grown
is.
right now, like, so I'm good. Like, they're grown up, so I'm good when it comes to that.
Yeah, I got two older daughters too. I got one that's 24, one that's 18. Well, she's 19
Yeah,
now, and I'm
yeah.
actually a grandparent now. So it's like
There you go. There you go.
nothing's gonna make you feel older than having grandkids, bro. It's like,
I don't have anything yet. Knock on wood. No going
man,
so. So you know what I mean. Both my daughters. My youngest, she'll be 11 next month, and my oldest, and she'll be 24, April 14th. So
oh okay, so
yeah,
right
yeah.
around that same age, yeah.
Mhm,
They grow so fast, man. But
mhm.
yeah, so I appreciate you joining. Like I said, man, it was a good
Yeah,
conversation. Finally able to speak to you in person, so hopefully
anytime.
we'll do some more content together. But yeah, thanks,
Yeah,
man.
let me know, man. Glad to be
All
here,
right,
bro.
will do.
I appreciate that.
All right,
Check you out.
appreciate it, bro. All
All
right,
right, man.
peace.
Peace.